Welcome to the SANAT KUMARA Ambassador of Light podcast, episode 48. We are Deborah, Katja, Martina, and Katharina again as your hosts. This podcast is part of Namas University study material. You can find a link to our study material and our study portal in the description below. We will be sharing information with you that is new to us, as we combine our skills and knowledge as co-teachers of Earth's spiritual university. Katja, could you please introduce today's topic, Anchor and Study 5D? What does it mean to fully submerge in 5D? And how can Namas University help you to anchor yourself in the new frequency and vibration of Mother Earth? Amaya, who is the host of All on Earth.
Oh, Katharina, thank you for a fantastic introduction. And it's my great pleasure to bring this topic today because it's very close to my heart. And first and foremost, I really want to mention from the very beginning, if you're here and if you're listening to this podcast, this is by your free choice. And that's what guides all of us into 5D. We are no longer tied up to the 3D contracts if we want or if we choose so. And that's something that I want to explore further today. So this is your core right to exercise on Earth, your core right of free will. Now, while Earth and Maya is on its pathway to become and fulfill how divine plan for Earth is being realized, and Amaya will very soon become a university planet. So hence, if you decide to study with us in Namas University, you're on track to fulfill this divine plan. And I want to bring to your attention that in Namas University, we are self-studying. So it's your free choice to study, and it's your free choice to choose a faith with which you're studying. But also, it's very important what type of attitude you have to study materials. And I think that what we will be discussing today, because we ourselves consider ourselves students. Would you agree, ladies?
Yes, always.
Yes, and in the Namas University team, we have the same responsibilities as students. We are just here to bring to you the most up-to-date information. So you might have heard in our lecture 136 a discussion of the topic of a wild child or eagle. And I want to look at it from a slightly different angle. So you might have heard that in the 20th century, there was a very famous psychiatrist, Eric Berne, who wrote one of the best books on the topics, which is called Games People Play. This is a very classical book at the moment. And I'm bringing it up to mention his key model of behavior, which talks about 3 roles every one of us could play in our daily life: adult, child, or parent. And here in Namas University, we would like to talk to your adult part. And when we communicate inside the team, we're trying to communicate adult to adult. There is no parenting. There is nothing about us being childish and asking for someone's permission. We're here by our free choice, and we're exercising our adult to adult type of communication, which very much is all about being rational and about being self-dependent rather than looking for others to give you grounds. So with this in mind, I know that we have Deborah here, who used to lead our live group meetings for the English-speaking group for a number of years. And Deborah knows how students flourish in the university firsthand. So maybe, Deborah, if you talk to us, what changed since we moved into 5D from your 3D experience? And maybe if you talk to us about your experience of working with truly dedicated students and who they are.
Yes, I'd be happy to share that, Katya. Thank you. For nearly 3 years, we met weekly on Saturdays on Zoom. And the reasons were to help each other understand this new information and grow together. This was the infancy of growing together in this understanding, this new information, expanding our library of minds together. And I found that when we met each week, those who truly wanted to understand the lessons would study beforehand. And as all of us were expanding our library of mind, including myself, showing up might have been a challenge at times for some. On a weekly basis, people are busy, but also different time zones. Students were from different time zones. But we were able to overcome this in various ways, and we were really thankful to be able to meet with one another each week. Really and truly just growing together in this understanding. It was, as I said, in its infancy. We were all getting this new information from the SANAT Kumara, something we had been looking for all our lives. That was said a number of times by students. Of course, in the beginning, there were challenges, various personalities, people from around the world, different ways of learning, different information that they had learned throughout their lifetimes. And unfortunately, some students had a personal agenda, and some were trying to gain notoriety for their own self, and that was a bit of a challenge. But we needed to be patient, and we were. It was really, as we talk about even in lesson 136, overcoming the ego. And some of this was ego-driven personality. So that was a challenge then. It's a challenge now for us all. Going into your ego chamber daily to clear that is very helpful. And just patience. Patience was needed for not only each other, but for our own selves. So another challenge was during the integration talks, late 2023 and all of 2024. That was actually a huge challenge because some students wanted to know everything that was going on, information and questioning decisions. And at that time, as we know now, being able to read Chronicles 4, all of it could not be revealed at that time. And we just, again, had to ask students for patience. Not everything can be understood immediately. We needed to continue to understand in steps. And that was a challenge, but, it was a challenge that had to be met. We met that challenge, and here we are today, thankfully, on the Namas University new website, learning with one another there in our adult stage, I'm going to call it. Yeah, and so much has happened in these past 4 years. So coming together in a common purpose is what I feel is very important now, together on the new website in our journey of return. Katerina, would you like to expand on that journey of return and helping students understand this new way of learning?
Let me put it this way. We're in the fifth dimension now, and we have other possibilities. Knowledge doesn't come from the incarnates, but it comes from higher dimensions, including the SANAT Kumara, Mother Earth, and the soul of this planet. They are guiding us on this journey back to source. Many people felt from the start that our lectures at the English channel of Namas University and the German channel and the Russian-speaking channel was not just lectures, it was light language. It was a light language, the language of creation, of healing and connection. And those people who studied thoroughly, they sensed it, and they worked for themselves. They understood with all their being. They didn't begin fights to defend what they knew already. No, they just started from scratch by using these episodes, the study material. And of course, we have added to our study material. The basic is the lectures, for everyone for free, plus many book series, so most of which are mandatory. This is my speaking. I speak for myself. I would say the SANAT Kumara speaks, and the Chronicles of SANAT Kumara are mandatory for those who like to know everything about the background. So we need this. And we have portals, painted portals containing light language. All of this study material will anchor you in 5D. And if you give yourself time and apply, for example, your skills of your renewed DNA, cleansing your ego chamber and your contract chamber and many more things, you will grow. And there are many quiet people who did grow, who've already found their way.
Many.
Mm-hmm. So we've added courses at the portal at namasuniversity.org, which prepare you even more there for everyone. And even Mother Earth is now speaking. Amaya speaks in a new book series, and she will share her story too.
Beautiful.
Let me
Forward to that.
let me add a few things. So, what does it mean to be an adult now? Is clearly moving out of the 3D world where you see yourself separate from others, other people, which allows you, for some reason, to attack them on the social media or wherever. Namas University is a 5D place. We are all equals there, and we respect each other, dealing and learning. Earth is vibrating in the fifth dimension now. So it's no longer Gaia, it's a Maya. It's a different being. And the journey of return is the bottom of the arc. So we started off from source in a breathing out, getting ever more diversified, ever more individual. And the end of last year, 11th of November, that changed. All those who are fully soul connected, and that is what we teach as Namas University, can start the upward arc back to source now on the journey of return. And that journey of return happens in group consciousness, in ever-larging groups, and there is a cycle to it. And the cycle is learn something new, apply it, and then teach it to others. So every time you've mastered something, you learn something new, you apply it in practice, and then you can teach it. So that is a new form of unity each of us has to learn. And for that, to me, being an adult means you stay open-minded for what comes every day. And every day we get challenged, us teachers included. We have to be receptive for things we had no clue existed. We have to stay humble and not take ourselves as the most important part of the show. No, we are not. We are enablers, we are helpers. And that you don't want anything for yourself personally, but you understand you are here to make a contribution. That's how I see the combination of unity, journey of return, and the adult perspective at Namas University.
I would very much agree, Martina, and I think we haven't used this beautiful word today. We're here to co-create, and we're co-creating nearly every moment of our lives when we talk to others. And hence, it's so very important to stay in your adult state, which in a way equals being present, which means you're not emotionally driven.
Yeah.
And now I really want us something that we haven't discussed, that's like before this recording, but like, what you think of one advice you would give to people who are listening to us? How do you anchor in 5D? Deborah, can I start with you?
How do you anchor into 5D?
Yeah.
You mentioned a daily basis. And upon awakening, connecting with your soul to me is important, so that you know where that particular day, what is important for you to understand. Yes, it takes some time to get to know so much that we're all learning. As Martina said, we are learning also on a daily basis, and being open to new ways of understanding, new beings appearing to us on Amaya to guide us, and just a daily knowing that you are within your own soul's knowing will lead you to be active in the 5D experience. And we're here to help. We're here to help.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So, who would you nominate to answer this question next, Deborah?
Who would I nominate to answer this question next? Let's go to Katerina.
I would say to anchor yourself fully means to accept and embrace everything your soul gives you, and to afford yourself time to learn to handle your impatience and expand your horizon to do the service to us. Expand your horizon to the entire earth. So don't just care for your neighbors or your loved ones only, but include everyone. Because your soul has the power to help them. Every desire you have, your spiritual desires will be met. And if you feel that people on the other end of the world deserve the same as you, your soul will make it possible. It will strive to facilitate this. And it will send you the beings and the people you are supposed to co-create with.
Beautiful.
Martina?
I would say there is a two-step process which I follow, that is cleaning out the back of snakes, as Buddha, Joshua, and Shiva call it. So that is reacting emotionally to things that happen to you and with that throw you off balance. Checking on your ego chamber, so where you're rooted in the 3D self that thinks itself being separate from the rest of the world, and then clearing out all the firm beliefs you have accumulated in your lifetime that come from third people, from parents, family, society, religion, whatnot. Clear that out, make space. And then you come into what I say is the staying open, the being receptive, the staying humble. And in that quiet space, inside Namas University, just soak it in. Soak it in what you can learn from the material, from the fellow students. And here my experience is that the most quiet ones, they report when they are done.
Right.
And many of them have already made the step. And they can now enter into the service of Amaya, into Earth's future. And that, I think, is the biggest step. Cleaning out the back of snakes and make space for the new. Challenge. Your loved ones are most likely not so much on the spiritual path as you are. And they want you to keep, want to keep the version of you that they know. So have patience with them and move at a steady pace like a turtle. They'll follow. But don't push them, don't rush them, love them the way they are. In terms of a real clash of conflict, be very clear which path you are trotting. And also make them aware where they treat you as either their child or their parent. You are not that. With minors, you are a parent. With all others, grown-ups meet. So we are not the parent of our partner. We are not the parent of grown-up children. Equals of grown-ups meet.
Beautiful. Thank you, Martina. Katya, what about you?
Yeah.
What about
Well, you did say so many beautiful things, and you shared great advice. So, what can I add to this now? Let me think. What anchors me personally is keeping my eyes on the horizon, something that Katrina mentioned. And if I fall out of my 5D flow, because 5D very much feels like a flow, you're not stumbling, you're just flowing. I have my little magic phrase that I would just say out loud: eyes on the prize. We know that horizon line is over there, and I know what is important for me, what is the most important, and everything else will fall into its own places. So eyes on the prize.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And maybe I'd add, see it with a long-term view. Even if you are more senior in age, you were still talking a decade, 1, 2, or 3 to go. So don't look for the here and now and want, like our society, instant gratification. Walk at a slow and steady pace.
And I will just share something that you, Martina, shared with me when I joined Nomad University team. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Yeah.
Yes.
For each individuals and for us as an organization, we are here to build something that will last and serve many.
So maybe now when we talked about 5D and we talked about unity, maybe if we would talk a little bit more about this adult attitude to what we are sharing with you at Namas university.org portal. So we have plenty of materials there, and that definitely adding a load of value to our lectures and to this podcast you're listening. So if you were to start today on the portal, what would you recommend as your first course? Martina.
Okay, maybe please, if you go to Namas University and you written with a YOU.org, you enter this website as a portal and you register. The courses you get there are free of charge. So you get the materials available and the courses that are available. Start where you are spiritually. So if you have decades of already information inside of you, challenge yourself with the Chronicles of the SANAT Kumara, because they might flip upside down what you know. If you are a newbie to spirituality, start with the affirmations and invocations by the SANAT Kumara. Reading is far more efficient to train you for spirituality than just listening. Because your brain needs to work much harder, and your brain is a neural network that needs to be trained like a muscle. Make use, pick and choose of what you find. Chants, stories, textbooks, portals you can use for telepathy and teleportation, going into higher dimensions, talking to the master teachers we work with. But move at a slow and steady pace. Join a course, complete that course. Instead of doing 3 or 4 at the same time, completing none. We are not in the scrolling age, swipe left or right. We are at a fundamental place where you have to root, you anchor yourself back into Amaya. Katerina, that's Amaya is your home turf. Anchoring back into Amaya. Is that a catchword for you, keyword?
Absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah. We are all healthy if and when we are anchored in Amaya. Amaya is everything. She's our nature.
And then, of course, Deborah, the nature beings, get back into contact with them.
Absolutely. Go outside, get into the nature wherever you live in the world. Just be outside with nature beings. Be on Amaya. Feel Amaya with your bare hands, your bare feet. Allow that to be absorbed into your frequency, because there you will be expanded for sure.
We had a lovely incident we probably need to share. We've been together the last couple of days here in Europe, especially in Germany. And Deborah is working closely with nature beings and has painted a few which we were unaware of, like the tree fox or the rose walker. Of course, when the portal is on paper, you can talk to these guys. And I was curious and said to the rose walker, what are you doing? What's your job, so to speak? And he says, I walk the roses. And I said, that in itself is such a job. And he said, no, I remind them that though they are the most beautiful and they have a lovely scent, they are no better than any other flower on the planet. And then another nature being said, yeah, and now implement that to the human beings. Get that in your head. You are no better than any other being on this planet.
Exactly.
What a job.
Yeah. I mean, that is also the daily learning we have. We use the portal, we start to talk to the portal, we start to the beings who we can address through them and say, tell us, teach us, show us.
They are teaching us and helping us. Absolutely. And that seems like a simple way, but it's not.
No.
You get that immediately. Their seeing the unity of all flowers and helping us see the unity of all humans. For sure.
For a moment, in your own culture, how many sentences are there that refer to roses?
It's true.
I don't know all the English ones, but you help me. Bedded on roses, smell the roses along the way. It doesn't say flowers. It doesn't say daisy or butterfly. No.
Roses have always been some flower that's important to me.
And then
Just
read a
scent
book
of a
on
rose.
what is important on the planet. It's all about human beings. We solve the problems with technology. We reinvent, we dig up whatever we want. No.
No. No, you simply connect with the Maya and you will receive everything that is needed. Absolutely. Not through technology. No.
Was that a sufficient answer to your question, Katja?
It was a beautiful answer, and I learned something new to myself, as always. So maybe with this in mind, Katrina, will you complete this podcast and tell our students a little bit more where exactly they can find all these beautiful courses? And maybe before we go with them, Marcina, maybe you wanted something about our next Ambassador of Light podcast.
Yeah. So the next Ambassador of Light podcast is something that most of you listening will be very familiar with. That is light workers, both individually and in groups. And what is the difference between a light worker and an ambassador of light? That I think is interesting to know and understand the leap that you need to make from being a light worker to an ambassador of light. We'll get into that in detail. Yeah, and who is closing?
Katarina, as always.
Dear listeners, we hope you've had the same fun as we had. If you have questions about this episode, please join us at namasuniversity.org. You will find the link in the description below. If you are serious about your spiritual development and understanding of Mother Earth and a role in our galaxy, we ask you to join Earth Spiritual University. We'll see each other again in a fortnight. Light workers versus ambassadors of light. See you then.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.